Anyways, I decided to watch the nose ring theory today. And yeah, let's see.
Hey again, guys. I've got a fun one for you today
Hmm.
that I think you're going to find interesting.
Yep.
Nose ring theory. And I just
Yep.
know that when I say that, half of you are going to be confused, and the other half of you somehow know exactly what I'm talking about, even if you've never heard of it before.
Yep. The liberal arts, college educated, white liberal women. Like this, I'm not saying this is all of them. I'm just saying that this is a defining characteristic of a disproportionate majority of them.
I will explain everything I've learned about this theory, show you some examples, and then give you my 2 cents on this whole thing. So, to take you on the journey that I went down to get here, I'll show you the video that I first saw that introduced me to this whole thing.
So I'm
Mhm.
24 years old, and I've been trying my hand
Yep.
at dating men specifically for probably about 5, 6 years now in a
Hmm.
serious way. I'm single at the moment. My boyfriend and I
Oh
just broke up
God.
recently, and I have probably dated about
Yep. You can tell. There it is. It's like cattle branding itself already, so you know.
like 4 to 5 men, seriously. Keep
Okay.
running into the same issues every single
Hmm.
time I date a man, and I've been trying to really get to the root of what it is. And now I know what you're thinking. You probably have a type. I do not have a type. These
Hmm.
men don't know each other. They're not friends. They're not from the same area. They don't
Hmm.
look alike. I really do not have a type. The only thing that these men have in common is that they are men. I really have been reflecting a lot and trying to figure
Yep.
out what like the root of all these issues is. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, but I'm not the reason that any of these relationships ended. One of the main issues that I've come to recognize.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So a lot of relationships ended. You've been with multiple different men the past 5 years, and you're not responsible for any of the relationships ending. Like, you at least gotta say one of them you might have been the problem. But all of them simultaneously is a very suspicious way of saying, hey, I've done nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong with me, and none of the relationships had any not even slight part of your problem in them. But I already see a sign. She's already throwing out accountability for herself, so it must be something wrong with the men she's dating.
Is that I don't think men are really socialized to know what it means to truly love someone, like love their partner and care for their partner. Obviously, I'm not saying this is all men, but I think it's just not
Mhm.
normalized for them to
And that's another problem. Like, thankfully she didn't say all men, but like, not normalized to love their partner. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Have you seen movies? Have you seen romances? Have you seen comedies? Have you seen like pretty much pretty much any like TV show ever for the past 10 years? Like, it's all the same thing. The father loves their family, they get together, blah blah blah. He provides for them, he feeds them, he takes care of them. Like, that's basically every romantic trope ever.
I don't know, just I guess I don't know how to phrase it. What I'm saying, for example, is that every single one of these men individually has looked me in my eyes and
Hmm.
told me that I am the love of their life, I'm the most important person in their life, that they would take a bullet for me, and every single one of them has treated me horribly, okay?
Oh, okay. Yep. But I bet she's not gonna notice this problem, which is every single guy treated horribly. She's dated multiple different men, and she said she doesn't have a type. But there's only two things that are possible, which is there's a lot of men she's not willing to date because she doesn't personally like them, whether she's doing it subconsciously or consciously, or she's purposefully picking out bad men who are bad for her, even while purposefully ignoring like all the red flags of her previous relationships that made them end. So she either has a type or she has a type, but she doesn't know it because it's more subconscious.
I don't know about you, but when I tell somebody they're the love of my life and that they're
Mm-hmm.
the person I care about the most, I show it. I'm treating them accordingly. Part of it that
Mm-hmm.
really trips me up is that they believe it. They
Yep.
actually believe in their heart that I'm the love of their life and I'm the person they care about the most. I start calling it out. I would be like, you do not love me and you do not care about me. Like, point blank, period. Otherwise, you wouldn't be treating me badly. And they will
Mhm.
argue and they get genuinely, like, offended. They get offended. I honestly pity
Mhm.
them because I don't think they're socialized to know what that means. And, like, I don't know how to get it across in a meaningful way to them. Like,
Maybe you're the problem. Maybe it could have been that they did love you, but the more and more they had to put up with you, the more and more negative side effects that these relationships had that eventually made them run away.
they just don't listen. And I'll be like, okay, you wouldn't have done this bad thing to me
Mhm.
if you actually loved me in the way that you say you do.
Oh
Like, that
god.
is not what love is. That's not what love is. When you love someone, you don't do things to intentionally or even unintentionally hurt them. Why is that considered love to you? I'm just like, I don't know where it's coming from. I honestly pity them because that has to be awful, but like, I can't handle it anymore, dude.
So, in this video, this girl
Mhm.
is describing her troubles with finding a good man. She
Yep.
insists that she doesn't have a type, that none of these men really have anything in common, but for some reason, in the end, they always end up treating her horribly. And this
Mhm.
led many in the comments to speculate that it must be something about her that is the common denominator. And
Yep.
unfortunately, since it's such a short TikTok video and we don't really get much insight onto greater parts of her personality, and she's not very open about what her most major flaws are, to
Mhm.
figure out why she's attracting such mean men or why her relationships are always driven to turmoil, people began to theorize, because it's one of the most noticeable things about her, that it could potentially have to do with the amount of piercings she has. In
Yep.
fact, these two comments right next to each other say, "The piercing theory is so true," with over 700 likes. And again, "Don't know, don't care, nose ring theory," with over 1,200 likes. So you might be wondering, like I did, what about having a bunch of metal in your face would cause someone to treat you poorly? I mean, sure, the style isn't everyone.
Maybe it kind of like feels like, you know, you know, your face is the first thing someone typically notices about you. And then you're putting all these metal things in it, which shows you might not respect yourself, or maybe you have some sort of problem. And it's not to generalize, but most cases, like if you look at a book from its cover, that's exactly what you'll get. But that's typically the case. Like just like how like some people, if they have like tattoos here or here, like employers typically would not want to hire them.
Type, but these men were clearly attracted enough to her to date her. So then, what is it that's causing the relationships to not go well? So I decided to look into what these men were referencing when they talked about the piercing theory or the nose ring theory. And this was the top video I found.
Have y'all ever heard of the septum piercing theory? If you have a septum piercing, you may not want to look it up, but I'm always the last person to hear about shit. So, this is common knowledge. It's dead ass.
Yep.
It's actually dead ass. Because it says that every person that has a septum piercing makes their trauma their entire personality.
Yep. Yeah, that is true. That is so true. That's so true. Fucking true. But yeah, I know a girl in real life. She has one of them. And yeah, let's just say that every conversation was about her trauma. Like, almost every interaction was related to her trauma. And not only that, but anytime she met, like, new people that maybe were friends with, like, the people she knew, she would talk to them. She would make it about her trauma. There was even one point where she brought up her baby to him, and something happened where this was a random guy, but something happened where they talked. I won't specify exactly what was said, but she got offended off of the advice he gave her off of having a baby. And the thing is, like, why was she talking to him in the first place? He was an obvious, like, he was kind of like the kind of douchebaggy guy with absolutely no idea, who wouldn't even want to be a part of that conversation. And then she got offended off of his advice. And then there were other times where the same thing happened, whenever she meets someone new, she would talk to them about her problems, about her childhood, and you know, it's kind of like using someone else as an emotional therapist to basically treat every problem you have rather than going to therapy yourself.
And she agrees?
Yep.
It's dead ass.
Like I said, dead ass.
Damn, straight from the horse's mouth. Or maybe I should say straight from the bull's mouth. You
Yeah.
know, because you get it, you get
Yeah.
it. And if even the person with the nose ring is saying it's true, I mean, there's gotta be something there. And this
Yep.
is just even more hilarious when we take that theory and then reference back to the first video where the girl was making her relationship trauma her entire personality. Okay, that might have been a little reductive. After all, it was just one video. Surely her entire profile isn't like that.
Yo, you guys never told me how cool it is to have a dad. Like, this is a secret that's been kept from me.
Oh my god, let me guess. You don't have a dad. He either left you or your mom left him and you've never met him. Therefore, this is your personality.
Okay, I grew up with 3 moms. My mommy issues are off the charts.
Oh,
Okay, sure. I mean, so maybe she doesn't have a dad and has a
3
ton of
moms.
self-proclaimed
3 moms. Okay, let's see. Where
mommy
this
issues, but that doesn't mean trauma's her entire personality.
I have psoriasis. Not
Oh,
like a little
God.
psoriasis, like all over my entire body. When I tell you,
Oh,
my whole
God.
body looks like this.
Okay, so she has a bit of medical trauma too, but I mean,
Okay.
there's more to her.
Nothing normal can ever happen to me. I think I attract chaos.
Okay, so attracting chaos, it might be a little red flag, but I mean, there's gotta be something normal here.
Mhm.
Not to be a man-hater or anything. Actually, no, fully to be a man-hater.
Oh,
Fully to be a
God.
man-hater.
Oh, okay, I guess she also just doesn't like men. I mean, you could have brought that up when you were theorizing on why your relationships with men might be going poorly.
Mhm.
I'm starting to connect the dots. Now, when I first started looking into nose ring theory, I didn't think that I would take it seriously at all. I thought it would just be a good laugh. But the more I looked into it, the more I think that it might actually hold some weight, because I did find quite a number of studies that have strong correlations between individuals with a lot of piercings and tattoos and how they are perceived and who they attract. This
Yep. It is true. It is true.
study seems to indicate that people with piercings and tattoos scored significantly higher than those without for sensation-seeking and risk-taking behaviors.
Oh,
This
God.
other study that I found seems to indicate that people with piercings and tattoos, specifically women, scored significantly higher for extroversion and assertiveness, meaning they are more aggressive socially. This study that I found in
Oh.
Psychology Today examines how people with tattoos and piercings are perceived, and the most popular finding was that they are perceived to be more sexually promiscuous, and that they tend to
Yep. 100%. 100%. That is code word for 304. Code word.
attract people who are looking for more casual relationships than serious ones. And many other studies seem to point to people with piercings and tattoos having higher correlations with impulsivity and more experience with trauma and adversity. This study from BMC Psychology seemed to find a strong correlation between body modifications and people who experienced childhood abuse and neglect. And this one really stood out to me. This one found a notable prevalence of individuals with a high number of body modifications and borderline personality disorder. Now, this is not to say that individuals with piercings and tattoos are all degenerate problem children under
Yeah, just enough of them do it that enough people notice it, and then it gets reinforced by the same people with the same thing doing the same stuff online.
deserving of love. I myself have a belly button piercing and an entire side piece, and I find myself to be pretty well adjusted and have had a lot of success in my relationships. But it does beg the question, could there be any legitimacy to the nose ring theory, or is it mostly just something that jerks shout at people they disagree with online when they happen to have a nose ring?
Legitimacy.
My ultimate conclusion? Probably both. Obviously, even with all of these studies and research papers, you're never going to be able to make a correct, sweeping blanket generalization about every one kind of person who looks a certain way. In the
Yeah.
case of the first video we watched, where the girl is describing her issues with relationships with men, we know that people did at least initially find her very attractive, as she even cites at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
video that I cut off that both men and women have described completely falling in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first listened to her story, I wasn't even making any judgments about her physical appearance. I was truly waiting for the other shoe to drop of when she was going to describe some consistent patterns of behavior that
Yep.
might lead to all of this correlation. In her case, I definitely think that being a vocal man-hater was probably the linchpin.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Because if you want to date men, but a big part of your personality is hating men, like there's only like one type of man you're sure to attract, and that's like a very weak, very effeminate, like feminine guy, like feminist man, leftist man. That's pretty much the only one. Because if you hate guys, but you want to attract guys, like it becomes really hard because all you're doing is putting him down every step of the way, no matter what he does. Or even worse, if you're spewing out things her other boyfriends have done, and then making him feel like, not like he can't compare to them.
In the disruption in her relationships with men, but certainly not all women with piercings and tattoos feel that way. In fact, here are some examples of super pierced and tattooed girls in very happy relationships with men.
Damn! Bro got a golf chick! Nice, my brother. Nice. Keep her. Keep her, man. You got this. Probably loves Kiss. Aw.
What is this? What is this, please?
Also, it's so funny how they always go for the nerdy gamer guys. But this is what makes the nose ring
Oh, yeah. Nice.
theory so complex, because if the first video were to be enough to prove that it's accurate, then all of these other videos should be enough to disprove it, right? At the end of the day, the nose ring theory is just that, a theory, an idea worth discussing. Is it true that people with a lot of tattoos and piercings tend to be a bit more rebellious,
Yes.
chaotic,
Yes.
and traumatized?
Definitely.
Yeah, probably, but does it make them inherently undateable? No. Some of them are. Some of them are absolutely
Just the ones that are extraordinarily painful to deal with in every aspect of life and have to turn every situation into something about themselves, bring down the mood, bring down everyone's happiness, and then make everyone rethink their lives on why they have to deal with this bullshit.
undateable, but not all of them. As with most things, it's a case-by-case scenario, and it's always more important to pay attention to how a person behaves or what they believe in than it is to try and find secret clues in how they look or dress. Anyway, that has been
Nice.
my analysis on nose ring theory. If you liked my coverage, please drop a like on the video, consider
Already did.
subscribing. We are so close to the big 500,000, the big 500,000 subscribers, and drop any comments that you have on the subject down below, because that
Nice.
also helps boost me in the algorithm and grow my channel. And if you want even more from me than you can find here, consider joining my Patreon at patreon.com/thedadvocate for early access to my videos, exclusive content, and exclusive merch that you can't get anywhere else. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the very end. I will catch you in the next one. Until soon.
Nice. Yeah, that was great, but yeah, this whole thing does have lots of validity to it, because I'm gonna say it. The most annoying people online usually follow that trend. But yeah, that's, I don't know, maybe it's just like some sort of way to, like, I don't know, maybe tell people you have trauma by doing it yourself, so then when people look at you, they know for a fact some shit happened to you. So then it becomes easier to just dump all your trauma onto someone else. But anyways, That's pretty much all.